You'll take it just a second. There we are.
Are we live?
We are live at 5, at 7, but you get the point. So, hey everybody. So I'm here with my good friend, Marie, and we've known each other for many, many years. And this is the first time that we've been able to see each other and to really talk face to face, even if it's virtually, since we both got out of prison. So I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see you. I wish I could hug you. You look really beautiful. You do.
Thank you.
So why don't you give, especially for my subscribers and the people that watch my channel, give them a little background to you.
Well, my name is Marie Sainviluste, and a little bit of my background. I am sure some of the people in the background is familiar with me or have actually, sat in the same room with me at some point from Toon channel.
Mm-hmm.
But for people who don't know me, I did a 13-year sentence in Texas State Prison. I recently got out June the 4th of 2019 and was deported back to my country of origin. And since, there's so much more to tell you in between, after, so I will let the host.
So, Marie, 2019, right? Like I got out December 2018. So we both got out pretty close to the same time. And look where we are now. It's pretty phenomenal, actually. So I remember when you had just got to Haiti and you were just, and you mentioned this in your first video, you were just devastated. You were just like, what? I remember one video with you and the kids and you were just crying and you were just crying out to God, like, God, please help me. Like, please help me. What do I do? And I remember we messaged a little bit back and forth about, you had this idea that you felt it was your calling, that God was calling you to do something for your people, for your country. And this is where you were going to be. And we had some discussion about that. And then before I knew it, Maria took off. She just took off as God intended. So I would love if you would talk a little bit about, those first few days there and how difficult that transition was and what brought you to that moment where you said, I'm going to do something different and I'm going to do something powerful and positive right where I am.
Okay. I'm going to answer that question. But I had someone reach out to me and told me that they were kicked off on the live. So how can they get back in?
Let me see if it's streaming. It should still just, I don't know. I've never known anybody to get kicked off of a live on a YouTube. Because it's still going. So I don't know. Don't have the answer for that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So you are up on my release, okay? A little bit about my background. I grew up in Houston, Texas. So even though I was born in Haiti, I left Haiti at a very, very young age. I spent elementary, middle, high school, all in the States. And my brothers and sisters, siblings, everyone is in the States. So when I first arrived here in Haiti, I was lost. Number one, I had already been disconnected from the free world for so many years that no matter where I went, I would have still had a level of struggle. But I was released into a whole nother country. I had not physically met my biological mother. And when I found out I was being deported back, I decided who else was there to reach out to. So I had my father find my biological, And I said, well, if I'm going back to Haiti, it's always been a desire to meet my biological mother. That is where I'm going for the first time at 36. So of course she comes and she picks me up, you all. And as upon arrival to Haiti, you all, I was just so devastated. I had never been so upset with God. I felt so lost. I felt so alone. I don't think that walking into TDC had I ever actually felt those feelings. You know, I had that security in TDC, and here I was now. I was finally free. No one to tell me what to do. No one to tell me when to wake up. Yet I was still enslaved emotionally. I had walked into another prison. It was like I got a unit transfer. Make a long story short, I kind of completely cannot tell you the ride because from what I was seeing, you all, I was just devastated. I did not understand what was going on, okay? I like blacked out on the ride home. I make it there. You all remember for the first 2 days, I barely even understood what was going on with me. I was just there. They were very happy to see me, very welcoming. And of course, my mother meet me for the first time. Yet I was so disconnected. They were happy to see me, yet I was not happy to see them. I was depressed. At that time, I honestly wish that I could have stayed in prison because I lived better in prison than what I was living in. I found out that my biological mother lived in abject poverty, poverty that's below understanding. Um, it was just, I had no restroom, nothing that I have grew up familiar with did I have access to. No electricity. It was just bad. I fell into a state of depression. And real quick, I know some of y'all that know me, I'm the type, I have self-talk. So when I found myself falling, my friend, I had to tell myself, hey, you better get a hold of yourself. You've been through bigger things than this, and God have seen you through it. So surely you're not gonna let Haiti overpower you. So you better be a big girl. You better get up and you face this world head on. And instantly, with what I was seeing, my sister, I knew what God brought me to Haiti for. While I was at immigration, I wrestled so much with why was I being deported. Now I knew my actions was the reasons why. Yet I did not understand it. I didn't understand why I was being punished on top of another punishment. But I knew instantly when I got here because of my heart, because of the things that I was seeing in front of me, I said, okay, God sent me here for, and I just started letting him use me slowly but surely.
And I can tell you that it is been interesting and fun and encouraging to watch that happen, to watch you transform. I mean, you look fantastic. Your videos are phenomenal. And I'm really proud of you. I really, and so this is why me and Diane were like, we got to get Marie. We got to get Marie. And she, every week she's like, did you talk to Marie? Did you talk to Marie? And yeah, because you were just an inspiration to us and all of the ladies.
Is Diane on the chat? Is DC on the chat?
She's supposed to be watching right now, but she's in Amsterdam taking care of her aunt for the next week. And I believe it's probably about 2:00 in the morning. But she is the BF. She will get up in the middle of the night and stumble into the kitchen. I'm there. But she was like, we have to get Marie on there, so because the girls are just really excited to hear about all the stuff that you're doing. So what are some of the things that, I consider what you're doing a ministry, so what are some of the things in your community that y'all have been doing?
Well, one of the, when I decided, okay, I started with my mother's house. And there, I'm not sure if you remember, I came to Haiti with my hands and 2 feet. I said, well, I got with Stacy. Stacy remained one of my friends to today. She's more than a friend, a sister. And I just started sharing with her my situation. She said, well, sis, one thing we can do is do a GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can do something nonprofit to help first get you stable, get, some help for you where you at. And from then on, we will see where, God sends us. So automatically, we did a GoFundMe, and that GoFundMe helped out a lot. With the GoFundMe, we were able to purchase a modernized restroom, build a restroom in the home, seal some holes, and make the place livable to
Mm-hmm.
where when it rained, we did not get wet. No longer did my mother and my siblings, who I had just met, had to go out, to the woods to use the restroom anymore, because now we had access to a restroom. In my mother's area, I was constantly getting sick because I'm allergic to a lot of dust. And the culture is very, very different. So I ended up going to a colder part of Haiti because the heat also bothered me a lot. The dust and the heat, I was no good. I was constantly sick for the first 3 months of living with my mother. So I'll go up to Kenskoff area where it's cold at, and I start getting better. When I get there, I start getting familiar with the children in the neighborhood. At that time, Haiti was in a civil war. Schools was closed. Children were little lost souls just really walking around. Mom and dad was, I wouldn't say didn't want to do something for them, but mom and dad did not have the ability. So
Mm-hmm.
then I started tutoring little kids. I started a small after school thing where I actually went out, bought the books, composition books, and I feed them and just welcome them. And the girls, I was teaching them about hygiene, teaching them about having confidence, and just talking to them as if they were my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized I found so much joy in doing that I wanted to get my voice out to the world. I needed more people behind me
Mm-hmm.
because I could not do what I needed to do in Haiti alone. I needed an army. So I went to God. And slowly but surely, one of my biggest breakthrough is a close friend that his name is Philly Dom. He's a YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
He came into Haiti, and he's my landlord cousin. So they shared with Philly Dom, hey, this is what this girl does. And we know she wants to do it. You could be a major help to her.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke to me one time. He's like, look, I support you 300%. Come on, let's go. He says, do your first video. And I'm like, no, I don't have this, I don't have that. He's like, look, don't worry about it. You don't need all that. And I did. And I tell you what, when I got here, there's a major stigma that's attached to deportees in this country, that people judge us, and that basically we do not deserve, basically, we don't deserve to live. We don't deserve to have the equal opportunity. It was like I walked around with my head down. My family members were constantly telling me not to ever tell anybody that I was deported. It was as if they were taking away Marie Sainviluste.
Yeah.
And Marie Sainviluste was the woman that had stood up with me for many years. And I did not want nobody to hide that. So
Mm-hmm.
people were telling me, don't say you are a deportee, don't do that. And, I kept the same routine with praying every morning, praying every day, trusting God to guide me, because now I was free. No longer had Stephanie. I didn't have Prima. I had nobody, okay? I had
Mm-hmm.
just myself. So with God, of course. So, I just started saying, here I am. Just use me. Just use me. And slowly but surely, I tell you what, Jennifer, I did the video. I told my story. everything everyone said not to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't, don't say you are deportee. Don't say you had been in prison.
Yeah.
I intentionally did it
Mhm.
because it's part of who I am. If you had a problem with that, then you couldn't embrace this woman.
Mhm.
You couldn't understand me because no matter what decisions I had made in the past, that's not who I am.
Right.
And that's how this the life in Haiti have taken off. And one of the number one projects I've done is my aunt living in below poverty. I went to visit her one time. That's one of the, I was going through places and actually putting things in my mind, Jennifer.
Mhm.
And I went to visit my aunt once. It devastated me so much that I never said a word. I never told them what was on my mind. And actually, that same room was that was the last place that I slept at before we caught our flight to the US. And when
Mm,
I returned, that place had not been touched. It was worse.
mm.
So in the back of my mind, I said, okay, one of my first projects, okay, is getting them a livable place. They have been on that property since 1973. I've been using the restroom in the woods. Never had a restroom there. Had one room. When I say you can go back and watch that video, and it just devastated me. So I said $400. I was going to do the roof. Got there, bosses said we can't do the roof, can't do the project. I said no, that's not how it's gonna go. God brought me here, so guess what? We're gonna do it. And
Mhm.
since then, life in Haiti has been just going good.
Well, I love how you talk about, you know, it our journey has been running parallel and very similar in a lot of ways. Because when I got out, I felt God. I'm not going to say I was angry at God, but I guess I was. There was some moments that I screamed at God several times. That I just felt abandoned, and I felt like a loser, and I felt alone. And my parents didn't really understand. I think where I was emotionally, just being home again and being on a super intense ankle monitor, and just not having, working two minimum wage jobs, and just feeling like I just feel like God has abandoned me, and what do I do? And just taking that one step of faith leads to another step, to another step, and then the people and the places and the opportunities. Once you say, okay, you know what, I give up. I give up. You know what, we'll just go for it. We're just gonna, you lead me wherever I'm supposed to go, in whatever direction I'm supposed to take, and I'm just gonna keep walking, even if I can't see it right away. And so many people do tell us, don't tell anybody that you have been in prison. Don't tell them about that. Jennifer, I wish you would keep that to yourself. Why can't you just quietly, assume a normal life, and keep that stuff, and I think it's, Marie, because people, they mean well, because they don't want you or I, or their loved one to be shamed, or punished, or treated badly, or stigmatized, or have people judge them. But like you said, it actually harms us more, because it's essentially telling us, don't be who you really are, because our experiences make us who we are. And I say it not with pride that I committed offenses to be in prison, but I say it with pride to say I am criminally justice involved, and I understand the complex issues around incarceration, because I've been there, and just having when people see that brave voice, when they hear that brave voice, and they see that beautiful, brave face, still pushing on, regardless of how society or people might judge your past, it gives them, like you talked about, the younger girls that you're teaching them confidence and strength. They see that in you, and so they can find that within themselves. And I hope that I'm able to do the same thing for other people. You really are an inspiration. And I'm so glad that I had that moment where it was like, all right, well, let's just do this. This isn't who I am. We learned that in prison. You get down, you cry about your set-offs, you cry about the injustice that happened, but girl, get your ass up and dust it off and come on. So yeah, and keep pushing it, because we're not quitters. And me and Alexa, you remember Alexa, right? She worked in Braille for many years. We just had that discussion the other day. She was like, hey, you got to keep rolling. It sucks, it hurts, but I believe that God has something special for my life. He can take the bad and create something phenomenally good out of it if I allow him. And that's the part where we get up and we press on, no matter how scary that can be. So I'm so grateful that you're here. Right. And I'm so grateful. And I remember our talks when you first got out, and just to see where you are now, and for you to see where I am. I told you I got a new job, working to help change mental health policies in schools, and a little bit in the jails and prisons too, and moved to Austin. And these were the dreams that I had for my life, even when we were incarcerated. And you may have not have seen it for where you're at right now, but you definitely knew that this type of work was going to be what your calling was. Because I remember, now look at my hair, look how bad it is. It's because you've not cut it in many years.
Don't tell them my skill. Don't tell them.
They're gonna be like, oh.
I don't think even my life in Haiti, people know that I can do hair, cut hair. They don't know.
Baby, Marie could make my hair look perfect, jazzy, and we could only have a haircut every three months, and so we'd be sitting in that beauty shop on Saturday or Sunday mornings talking about what we were going to do with our lives once we got out of that godforsaken prison.
That's right. My sister, I want to share that I am so proud of you. One of the number one reasons why I'm so proud of you is because I knew that I wanted to work with people and for people. And one of my dreams, when I would sit in my cubicle, I always said I wasn't done with prison, that I was coming back, but I wasn't wearing white. I wasn't going to leave for count time. I was going to leave through them gates. And that is one thing I genuinely admire about you, is the fact that you actually advocate for prisoners. And even on my channel, I have encouraged people to get involved with prison ministries within the church. Go and visit the prisoners, because what a lot of people don't understand is whether you like people behind bars or not, at some point, they will eventually return to your community.
Right.
And you want to give them some type of impact while they're in there, that when they return to the community, that they can blend in and not as just looks, but become a part of the community based on their actions.
Right.
And one of the number one things that encouraged me so much sitting in church at TDC was seeing men and women who had sat in those same seats, coming back, testifying and telling us just how much God had done for them. And I know that the word say, if he did it for you, he'll do it for me. If he did it for me, he'll do it for you. So I admire that. And of course, I've always loved your brains. I've always felt that you were one of the smartest girls on the unit. And I still think that you are a very, very smart person. Very smart young lady.
Thank you. And I hope Diane's listening.
Blessing you. God is blessing you to use that in a positive way. And that is why, since the minute Diane reached out to me, I'm like, yes, y'all don't have to ask. I am still your sister. I have not changed. Whenever you want me to be a part of your show, just reach out to me. I am there. I'll make time, whether I have time or not. And I am more so, I hope that, I pray that some of my Life in Haiti people have tuned in, because this young lady, what's so special about this interview is the fact that we never lived in the same dorm together, right?
Right.
But we've lived on the same unit. She was the librarian. And one of my very close friends is best friends with her. So we were close, even though we had the distance. So we kind of we've been through the same path. And I genuinely love when somebody who I've done time with get alive and give a shout out, because that just lets me know that somebody can say, look what God's doing.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not about you, it's not about me.
Right.
And we can encourage others to get up and get out and do something positive too in the community.
Absolutely. And trust me, I pass your videos around policymakers and, the professional people in the Capitol. I am not shy about passing around Maria's video. And I always say, here is a woman that was formerly incarcerated that I just want you to look at what she's doing. She took a bad situation and turned it to good. This is a story about immigration. This is a story of our times, and I want you to see how she did not let that crush her spirit, and she's able to do something positive in her community. This formerly incarcerated woman, and I think that's, me and Diane, we love to have our interviews and our talks, in our chats, because we miss the girls, and I always say the thing that kept my sanity and the thing that helped me stay focused, were y'all, were the women that I lived with on those units. We had each other, and anything that I can do to elevate their voices when they succeed is I'm going to do it. I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to showcase it, and I'm not going to be fearful of those opportunities where you have to stand up and say, yes, I was incarcerated. Yes, I've been to prison twice. Not nice charges either. You know what I mean? But this is who God made me, and this is who I am today. So yeah, we'll have you back on here because with the Zoom interview, we could actually be chatting with 3 or 4 other people. So that will be fun. We'll put some more people on here.
That's right.
Yeah, and you tell me if there's somebody you don't want to talk to.
Oh no, actually, I would love to see everybody. Everybody. I don't think there's one person that I wouldn't want to see on the screen. Me, at times when I go through Facebook and I see some of the women, and some of them I don't even recognize, okay? And it takes for me to remember that. It takes for me to remember that name, and I'm like, I remember Johnson, or I remember such and such, and seeing how good they're doing, seeing how good we're looking, seeing how good God have carried us and where he carried us through. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. That's why every day, Toon, I could never stop saying thank you, Jesus. Same Bible that took me through the war.
Yeah.
Still carries me through all of my journeys, all of my journeys, because it's nothing but God. So I tell everybody that I come across with, it's nothing but God. One of the things that I want to mention you know, you've done time with me. So for a while when I was in prison, I was just lost too. I was full of bitterness, full of pains. I had left two of my kids on my parents. And
Mhm.
of course, in prison, you feel alone when the mail didn't come. It was a burden. And I remember August, we were getting the phones installed in
Okay.
2009. And August the 6th, in medium custody, I was one of the first ones. My parents had already set up the phone, so I was able to call. And I will tell you, since that day, I knew hearing their voice and understanding that I was not in prison alone.
Right.
I had other people that were in a mental prison right along with me. They missed me, they loved me, they wanted to see me get out and do better. And I can also feel a level of disappointment because I
Mhm.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Since that day, I knew deep in my heart, I asked God, don't let me walk out the same woman that
Yeah.
walked in.
Yeah.
And I think back, I got four set-offs before I got a yes. I got
Mm.
four no. And on the fifth time, they made me wait 7 months for a yes. But now when I think about it, sometimes when we go to God and we ask God for something, He gives it to us. Be careful what we ask for
Right.
because
Yeah.
you don't know how He give it to you.
Right.
But a lot of time He gives it to you right on time,
Mhm.
right on time, because He helped me to deal with so much that would have disturbed me out here in Haiti and kept me distracted and still longing to be in Houston, Texas, right behind the walls.
Yeah.
He just dropped so much at my door for the last 4 years that he had got me ready emotionally because he knew exactly what I was going out into. And
Mhm.
I just thank God. I thank God, and I can't say anymore.
That you make a great point that it's like, you know, indeed, be careful what you ask for because he is faithful. And, never in my wildest dreams when I was on that floor in Fort Bend County Jail, when I said, God, please help me. Please help me. I can't do this anymore. And I knew I was going back to prison and I knew I was going back for a long time. And I just remember sobbing in that cell, Marie, like just sobbing. I said, that's it. I'm done. Please, whatever it takes. I want this chaos in my life to stop and I want to go back out better. And I would walk in the rec room. It was kind of like a walking meditation prayer. You know how I like to walk the rec yard, me and Stephanie. And a lot of times that was my prayer time and my therapy time. And
Your therapy.
yeah, I never, you know, you're right. Like all the no's from parole were not pleasant and they were hard. But the things that I went through prepared me for this moment. And had I had this moment without those preparations, this wouldn't last.
Mm.
So, I mean, definitely it was all for a purpose and a reason. He gave me exactly. I mean, I'm looking around in my room and in my new city and my town and my writing's taking off. These are all the things that I envisioned that moment on the floor saying, God help me. I'm throwing away my life and I don't know why. Please, this is who I want to be because this is who I know I am. But it took me
Mm.
that painful journey of every single experience to be able to prepare me to maintain this. And I think that was a really important point
Yes,
for you
right.
to say. So I appreciate that. You mentioned Stephanie, and I want to just kind of give a moment to Stephanie because she is our mutual bond, and she's a beautiful, amazing person I've known for 15, almost 20 years, and you've known her a long time too. She got a 5-year set off. So anybody that's watching that doesn't really understand what we mean when we say set off, that's a parole denial. And so they can give you anywhere between 1 year or 5. And actually, for some offenses, they can now give you 10 years, which is absolutely horrifying. So Stephanie, this was her first time up for parole. and she was very hopeful, but she was still a little nervous about it. And she thought maybe she was going to get maybe a 1 year denial. And I was telling you before we started recording or going live that I actually checked her answer the day they posted it, and I had to look at it twice. I logged off and logged back on because I'm like, surely I'm not reading that right. And so they gave her that 5 year set off. So what are some things, because I know it's hard to communicate sometimes where you're at with the ladies in prison, but what are some things that you would like for me to be able to share with her? Because I'm telling you, Marie, this hit her hard. I mean, she's doing okay right now, but it was real hard for her for a while.
Having walked those same shoes, a lot of times, and I know my friend, you don't really need to say anything to her. Because sometimes when we try to comfort somebody that's in a situation like that, and I'm using myself, it was good knowing I had you to take a walk with me, to give me a hug, to be there, walk with me. But at the end of the day, when I went back to my cubicle, nothing no one else had said soothed me.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to strengthen myself. I needed to get myself busy. If you remember, I worked a lot during my incarceration. I needed a distraction, something to keep me focused. And one of the number one things for every set off that I did, I bagged away slowly but surely from the world. Because at that parole time, we imagining all the lights, we imagining the family, we imagining the holidays, that we get drowned in that.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't grant us that opportunity, it devastates us. One of my number one advice to my sister is stay busy.
Mm-hmm.
Keep pushing, and know that if I am still alive, that I'm gonna get to have my day. I see many, many girls that dealt with the same thing. And today, and I'll tell you, one of my close friends, our close friends, Malita, Kamalita
Mm-hmm.
Williams, who
Mm-hmm.
got many devastating set-offs, is now free and doing so good. There's no words but to say, my friend, I love you. I really wish I was in the States and be able to do so much more and be able to communicate more, where I can actually be there mentally and emotionally. The number one thing to do is let God use you right where you at. Steph
Yeah.
is very smart. She enjoy aerobics. Get a job in aerobics. Volunteer around the unit. If it takes you passing out mail, whatever it is, get you a job that, and I worked the kitchen many years. People hated the kitchen, and I did not leave the kitchen until I got a job, which I really, really enjoyed, which is the beauty shop. And I stayed just as busy in the beauty shop. But the kitchen gives you the ability to drown yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So not too many people really enjoyed working with me, because what people didn't know was I was beaten up of pain
Mm-hmm.
that I had deep on the inside. So I worked extra hard so I can manipulate my mind.
Right.
I didn't have to stay Monday. I wasn't always thinking. Thinking became was what's the meal for today? What we get now? What's this and that? To where when my body asked for rest, I got rest. And then I go in the moments too when I have my time, and you get the mail and you want to write mail, but just stay in the moment. That's my advice to my sister. And know that time flies,
Yeah.
and that she's gonna have her day. They cannot keep her there forever. Okay. She don't want to get in trouble. She don't want to do anything that will taint her chance for next time. So
Right.
you just keep pushing. Oh, and you know, I know we have it where you say, well, Marie, I haven't had a case in 7 years. I have not had a writer. That's fine, baby. Keep it that way.
Right.
Because a lot of times they're wanting to get a reaction out of us. And then too, we've seen where people get 5 3 year set-offs, and what does he do? He go right back and pull it, and you get a parole pass. So
Yeah.
you just never know what God is doing, but to live in the moment and know that everything happens for a reason, and he's preparing her for something. And when she get out here today, we can't tell her why.
Hmm.
She can't see why. She'll never understand why. You couldn't tell me in 2014 when I started dealing with set-offs that I was gonna be there to 2019.
Yeah.
I would not have been your friend. So, so sometimes it is best for us to just deal with it head on as it goes, as it comes. And you just ask for that strength to keep pushing, to keep pushing. And I know that Stephanie is very, very strong.
Yeah,
She
she is.
discredited herself. And I know that she'll be home and she's going to do awesome things. Just take it one day at a time.
And that's really
One day
great.
at a time.
And that's what I'm going to, reiterate to her is that I love that
And I'll tell you this,
you.
if this makes her feel better, um, in America, I used to say this like just speaking, but living in a third world country that is known as one of the poorest countries in the world, okay? People in prison have so much more opportunities in the States than someone who has never committed a crime in Haiti.
Yeah.
They do not have access to medical care. Children do not have access to 3 meals a day. They do not have access to 24 hours a day electricity, completely unheard of in this country.
Hmm.
One of the biggest things prisoners have in that we waste water. That
Yeah.
is a luxury. So when I first arrived in Haiti, I missed prison in a way. I felt like I lived better in prison than I am in my country of origin. So when we think prison is the worst thing that could happen to me, I hate it here. Don't say that. Because a lot of times Americans associate struggle with a certain look, but it can always be worse, my sister.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to be in prison. I know that. I've shared those same bunks with you. I've been there. But know that you have children out here that are innocent. They are suffering. You have adults, you have young men, youth that are suffering, that is growing up illiterate, unable to go to school. That is why that's one of my passions is getting children sponsored in school. You have so much poverty that I can go on and on. And in addition to that, the lack of security. In prison, we're there because we have broken rules, the law of the land, and we go behind the walls and get more security than the average person in the community and society. We have 24 hours, security. I am in a country where powerful people get victimized and there's no justice for them.
Yeah.
I recently had a bad situation that I had an attempted kidnapping. There was no calling 911. There was nobody that was going to investigate to find out who did it, why, or what. Meaning people are constantly getting killed. There's a political instability, not only in Haiti, but in many other countries. That are so much worse than Texas State Prison. So just be thankful for what you have. If you're thankful for what you have, then you stop focusing on what you don't
Right.
have And it's all about my sister living in the present,
Yeah.
living in the present. I can say this because I've been there.
Right.
And every day as I walk around, I always say to today, dang, you got people that are women and men that are in prison that live so much better than the people of Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
And I can only imagine other countries that are similar to Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
So be thankful, count your blessings. There's no grievances, there's no complaints, there's none of that. And you can have them all day, but it doesn't matter because it falls on deaf ear. No one cares
Mm-hmm.
in these countries. So,
Well, and Marie, I appreciate you saying that. I really do. And in times of struggle for me, when I've maybe kind of focused a little bit too selfishly on my own problems, I brought up the video about you. I could just hear you praying as you were filming one of your first videos, and you were just like, Jesus help us, Jesus help us, and you were in tears when uh, you were telling us, this is what life is like here, and the babies' faces just having infection. And I remember right where I was when I watched it. I was sitting in my bed, and I had a hard day at my little job, and just feeling depressed and sad and angry and resentful for a lot of things, and a lot towards a lot of people. And after I watched that video, I remember I messaged Diane, and I was like, my God, I said, like, I'm feeling really, and I'm sorry, I use a lot of profanity. I was like, I'm feeling real fucked up. I'm feeling like I can hear it in Marie's voice, like the dad is genuinely crying out, like, God, please help us. I said, and here I am sitting here bitching about this stupid subway job, and I'm not able to go do the things that I want to do right away. Um, and it was a moment of getting back into that place of gratitude. When I got sober, I mean, I was forced sober all those years in prison, but when I got out, that was my choice to be sober. And the key to that, and the key to all well living is very much what you just said, and that is gratitude, being grateful. For the things that you do have, um, and for the people that are in your life, because there's other places and other people that need so much of your time and your help, and to just live in that moment and keep pushing and be grateful. Those are really great sayings that I'm going to pass on to her, and hopefully everybody that's watching. Um, so I
yes,
always
and
go ahead, babe. Hit it.
of course, you just send my love always,
Mm-hmm.
and let her know, I love her. I tell you what, when I found out she had a set off, it was as if it was my set off. I felt the pain. I felt the devastation. I was, of course, you just I was just as hurt for her because I love her. It was not right. It was painful, and I could only imagine the way she was feeling, going back to her cubicle. Her and I lived in the same dorm. I still remember how her cubicle looked. I know the walk from the phone to her cubicle, and I knew my friend was devastated. I knew she needed that walk with me at Rec, especially at Lane Murray.
Yeah.
Steph don't talk to many people.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things too that makes it a little bit more difficult is when we are going through something in such a hopeless place. And you don't know if people are really happy about your pain
Right.
or if they really mean their condolences.
Yeah.
So, but God had got her, and she's going to be all right.
So, I always ask the people that I talk to and I interview, tell me, and happiness is a state of mind. But me and Diane love to tell stories, and we love to make people laugh. So, but do you have a particular memory of all of our time together that makes you smile? I mean, I've got 1,000. I've got a lot of memories that I'm not fond of, but
I tell you, one of my favorite memories with you, I want to say it has to be in the library.
Uh-oh.
I love when we go to the library and I get to read Houston papers. In the whole unit at Mountain View, the library was my favorite place. That is one place I ran to go to, and I kind of used to hate when we had, some of the wrong officers, but not to be off subject, but that's when I love spending time with you. Like I always associate, where's Toon when I come to the library?
And
I want to say
haven.
this, during our incarceration, I think of,
Go ahead.
Okay, during my incarceration,
What happened, Marie? You disappeared.
Toon.
You went.
All right, I'm here.
Okay, there you go.
I am back.
Okay. It's technology, baby.
It's just technology. But I would say this, because I'm not sure if people are able to still hear or see, but even the officers that were tough today, I appreciate them.
Yeah.
I really, really, really appreciate them because of the fact that a lot of times when they are being tough with us, we think that they're the worst person on earth. Yet God is using them to teach you something.
Mm-hmm.
To teach you something. So it's kind of like, even officers, so many people that I think about, that I came in contact with during my incarceration, I can honestly say, like, thank you, Jesus. Because I got a write-up. I was reprimanded for all the times I thought I was trying to do something wrong and I got caught and was upset with it. But in all that, God was showing, he was teaching us something. He was putting that officer in our path for a reason.
Go on, and
Are you able to see me, my sister? Because
yeah, I can see you.
your face is like stuck like this.
Great, fantastic. That's what I love when it's frozen framed with me doing something weird where I look like a little old man. Hopefully,
right.
It's Zoom and it's only $15 a month, so I guess I get what I pay for. Well, anyway, we're coming up on an hour anyway, so I guess we should kind of wrap it up. Maybe the video is getting tired. Is there anything else that
I want to say, my sister, that I enjoyed you so much. No, I enjoyed you so much, so much. And I am actually about to go and do a live and spend some time with my peoples on Life in Haiti. So please check it out. But I want you to stay encouraged. You keep pushing. And one of the main things I want you to always do whenever you can is go back and visit within the walls. Allow your voice. We cannot change everything. And one of the things I always say is, we can change so much, yet we cannot change the way people think, okay? But if you allow God to use you, because a lot of times people are hard-headed because they are in a hard, depressed place.
Mhm.
You may be going in there at the right time to change somebody's life. I want to see many, many more women and men coming from behind the walls, standing up strong, not afraid or ashamed of the things that they've been through, because the things which they have been through has shaped them to be a much better man and a much better woman. So you go back into the walls and tell people your story, my sister. Let
I
your
will.
voice be heard. So people are more prone to listen when they have been through the same thing.
Yeah,
When you can say you've been in my shoe and this is what you accomplished, I'm more prone to listen.
absolutely. I
Do you
totally
get what
agree.
I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, that's the
So
way peer
that is
education and
all I
peer
ask.
support
That is
works.
all I ask. And I think that's right. And I thank you so, so much for inviting me to the Jennifer Toon show, my
Yeah.
sister. Thank you so, so much. And may God continue to bless you.
You too, Marie. I love you.
I love you too. I love you too. And this is different because I'm so used to when I'm live, I can actually see the comments. So I keep thinking
Right.
this is just a recorded interview because I don't see the comments. But to everybody's watching, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight and supporting Jennifer Toon in Life in Haiti. I will be going live in a few. Please check out Life in Haiti live. I love each and every one of y'all. I cannot see your live, but I thank you all so, so much for tuning in tonight.
All right, Marie. We'll do it
Can
again.
you hear me?
Yeah?
We will, always, always. I
All right, honey. Have a good
love
evening.
you and stay blessed. Okay, please
You
check
too.
me out on Life in Haiti.
Yes, darling. I'm fixing to right now.
All right, my sister.
All right. Bye.